Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're plunging headfirst into topics that shape our world, hoping to leave you, well, not just informed, but really fascinated. Today, you're about to embark on this pretty extraordinary journey. Humanity's first audacious steps towards the stars.
Yeah, and the story kicks off with this almost unbelievable ambition. And it's rooted in a past you just wouldn't expect to lay the groundwork for, exploring the cosmos.
Exactly. Our mission today is to kind of unravel the incredible, sometimes really chaotic story of space exploration.
Right. We're pulling insights from, well, a whole trove of sources, including James Michener's detailed accounts. We want to help you understand not just what happened, but why it all mattered so much to the people living through it.
It's this tangled web, isn't it? Scientific genius, wartime urgency, politics.
Political maneuvering, absolutely.
Yeah.
And these deeply personal sacrifices, all shaping the space age.
And to really get it, we have to start in the place that feels, well, almost counterintuitive, World War II.
The crucible of World War II, yeah. It seems strange that amidst all that destruction, Germany's terrifying V-2 rocket program would somehow pave the way.
How did that even happen? A connection. It's one of history's real ironies, isn't it? We start in Peenemünde, Germany, the birthplace of Hitler's V-2s.
Yeah.
Described as horrible things. One account imagined, 100 hitting London a day.
100 a day? Good grief.
Yeah, potentially 100,000 civilian deaths a month. So the Allies responded massively. 394 bombers hit the site in just one night.
Wow.
So this obsession with destructive power, it inadvertently poured massive resources into the very tech that later unlocked space. It just shows how, I guess, even the darkest chapters can forge these unexpected paths.
But the scale of that bombing run is something else. And amidst this, you had these other whispers, right? This heavy water mystery, the monster bomb theory. How seriously was that taken? I mean, compared to just bombing factories, was it real fear or just, intelligence chatter? It was a mix. A lot of Allied generals were definitely focused on the industrial targets, pretty skeptical. But the fear of a monster bomb, something nuclear based on heavy water, that was real enough.
Okay.
Real enough to drive specific intelligence efforts. And that led directly to this critical point. Key German scientists had to survive.
Right. Figures like Werner von Braun, Kolff.
Exactly. Suddenly priceless assets. You had Stanley Mott, an American engineer, arguing they were, quote, absolutely vital to the free world.
But at the same time,
You've got this SS officer, Colonel Helmut Funkhauser, whose job was basically to bring them to heel and even get rid of von Braun.
So they were walking this incredibly dangerous tightrope.
Caught right between the warring powers. And their own scientific ambitions, really.
So their knowledge is vital for the future, but their lives are hanging by a thread. And that chaos, it just ramps up at the end of the war, right?
Right, completely. Russian troops closing in on Peenemünde.
Yeah.
Von Braun makes this huge decision. Move west, take his team, take the papers, and specifically aim to be captured by the Americans.
What a gamble. High stakes doesn't even cover it.
It really was. And the capture itself, it sounds like something from a spy movie. You've got Funkhauser, Kolff's wife, Liesel.
Carrying the secret documents.
Yeah, these ultra-precious secret documents. And they get picked up by an American civilian, just some guy who is actually looking for heavy water papers.
Unbelievable.
Meanwhile, you have this horrifying contrast. Himmler's SS are massacring scientists elsewhere, people they suspect of sabotage.
Odd.
But the ones who made it west, like von Braun and Kolff ending up at Fort Bliss, they were saved. Brought to America because their expertise was just deemed too valuable.
But not everyone agreed with that, right? You mentioned resistance.
No, definitely not universal. Secretary of Defense Charlie Wilson, he actually secretly ordered against throwing American rockets into space. It just shows how much internal friction there was, competing visions for what post-war America should even be doing.
That's fascinating. Such resistance to what we now see as, well, almost inevitable. But okay, despite that, they still needed to build a foundation here in the U.S. So let's shift over to the American side. Organizations like NASACA, that's the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, right?
That's the one, the precursor to NASA. And early research centers like Wallops Island, Langley.
What were the big hurdles they were facing initially?
Well, on the American side, you really see the genius of engineers like Stanley Mott. He was tackling these incredibly critical, fundamental problems, like developing ablative material.
Ablative material. That sounds technical.
It is, but the concept is key. It's this substance crucial for reentry, right? Designed to wear away slowly in extreme heat, but without actually burning through.
Yeah.
It literally boils away or evaporates one tiny bit after another in the superheat.
So it sacrifices itself.
Exactly. Mott apparently did this demonstration holding a blowtorch to a thin block of it, and you couldn't feel the heat on the other side.
Wow. Imagine trusting your life to that, coming back through the atmosphere.
Right. It shows the kind of basic fundamental problems they had to solve from absolute scratch.
That image really sticks with you. The sheer ingenuity for the technical side.
Yeah.
But just as important was the political side, right? The will, the money.
Oh, absolutely crucial.
And here you have Lyndon Johnson, described as the power in the Senate. He really backed aviation and space.
He did. He saw the importance. But getting the funding, pushing the bills through Congress, that was tough. He assigned that difficult job to two Western senators, Michael Glancy and Norman Grant.
So space was political from the get-go. Was it like a bipartisan thing back then?
Not always smoothly bipartisan, no, but it was definitely seen as strategically important. Johnson knew that. But it was still a hard sell, funding-wise.
And while America's sort of meticulously building this foundation,
The Soviets score a huge coup.
Sputnik.
Exactly. The unexpected beep, beep, beep of Russia Sputnik, it just electrifies the world, ignites this fierce competition.
And forces America's hand.
Completely. America had to rethink its maybe slower, more cautious approach rapidly. It was right after Sputnik that von Braun and Kolff made that famous claim.
What was it? 60 days for a satellite.
Von Braun said 60. Kolff, even more confidently, apparently just said 30 days.
30 days?
Yeah. The space race was suddenly dramatically on. It went from a scientific pursuit to this urgent national priority overnight, pretty much.
That definitely lit a fire. And it wasn't just about launching satellites anymore, was it? The shift went to putting people up there.
Mm-hmm. Brave young American heroes, as the sources put it, because, people can't love machines or scientific instruments.
You need a human face, someone to read for.
Exactly. The public needed that connection for this huge adventure.
So how did they find these heroes? What was the process?
Incredibly stringent. NASA set up this really rigorous selection process. It ended up with the Solid Six.
The Solid Six.
Yeah, the initial group.
Yeah.
Mostly military test pilots. And they weren't chosen so much for, athletic prowess, but more for their internal discipline, their ability to perform under just extreme pressure.
Who was in that first group?
Let's say you had Randy Claggett, Marines, John Pope, U.S. Navy, Hickory Lee, Army, Tim Bell, who was actually a civilian test pilot, Harry Jensen, Air Force, and Ed Cater. These guys weren't just pilots, they were suddenly the embodiment of this new national ambition.
And the training, I hear it was brutal. Places like Patuxent River, Pax River.
Pax River, yeah. Incredibly intense. Test pilots like Claggett, he taught them things like trusting your guts, your reflexes more than the instruments sometimes, especially in the flight reports.
Really? How so?
Well, he apparently criticized Pope's early reports for being too wordy, too clinical. He emphasized that the human body, the pilot, was the most expensive and complicated instrument in the plane. You had to report what you felt.
That's a fascinating perspective.
Yeah.
An early lesson in the human factor.
Absolutely. And the stakes were just unbelievably high. Captain Penscott, their supervisor at Pax River, his welcome speech was something else.
What did he say?
Basically, gentlemen, you're the best military pilots in the nation, but by this time next year, 2 of you will be dead because you didn't know enough.
Whoa. That's blunt.
Brutally honest. Imagine hearing that on day one. How does that shape your mindset? Knowing the risk is that immediate, that severe.
It must create this instant, visceral understanding of the danger.
Yeah.
Just, wow. And it wasn't just the training, right? Their personal lives were suddenly under a microscope.
Oh, totally. Intense public scrutiny. And their wives especially faced these really unique challenges.
Like Penny Pope. The press called her indifferent.
Yeah, apparently because she wasn't always glued to her husband's side. Seems incredibly unfair from today's perspective.
Totally.
And then you had Debbie D. Claggett, seen as blousy, known for her colorful language.
Okay.
But behind that image, she was seen as the best mother in the lot, incredibly resilient.
So NASA's publicity people had their work cut out for them.
Definitely. Tucker Thompson, the publicity manager, was trying to manage this image, coordinate photo ops, present this perfect American bouquet of wives.
An American bouquet.
Yeah.
That phrasing tells you a lot.
It does. And these personal struggles, under that constant public glare, they reveal this huge, often unseen cost of being a national hero. It shows the human side of spaceflight went way beyond just the technical skills.
That's a powerful point. The pressure on the families must have been immense. And it exposed complexities, right, in marriages, identities.
Absolutely. Like Eleanor Grant. She was afraid of her husband's political ambitions and later got drawn into the stuff from Leopold Strabismus about visitors from another planet.
Strabismus. We'll come back to him. But yeah, it sounds like a really challenging time being caught between that public duty and your private life.
Truly was. So, okay, the foundation's laid, the astronauts are chosen and trained. The ambitions just keep growing exponentially.
Right. Apollo 18. The plan wasn't just back to the moon, but
landing on the other side of the moon.
And Penny Pope called the dark side.
Yeah, like a lot of people still do, even though, it gets just as much sunlight as the side we see. It's just the side facing away from Earth. That little misnomer, it shows how common misconceptions can stick around.
Okay, so landing on the far side, huge technical problem.
Communication.
Massive.
Yeah.
How do you talk to them when the moon itself is blocking the signal? The solution was 3 foolproof orbiting satellites.
Foolproof. Hope so.
Yeah, costing about $10 million each back then.
Wow.
They act as relays, the vital link back to Earth while the astronauts were on the far side. It just shows a level of commitment, right? Almost no cost was too great.
And the crew for this mission, Apollo 18. Pretty historic lineup.
Really was. Flight Commander Randy Claggett, the Marine, Command Module Pilot John Pope, Navy guy, and Lunar Module Pilot Dr. Paul Lindley.
Lindley was a professor of geology.
And significantly, the first black astronaut. So this crew wasn't just about scientific skill, it was a major step forward in representation for America in space.
The flight starts. They avoided pogo, that nasty oscillation during lunch, which was a huge relief, yeah.
And Pope noticed the capsule felt roomier than the earlier ones. Small comfort, maybe. But space is always dangerous.
Always unforgiving. And they hit a major problem. A solar flare.
Oh boy.
Sam Cottage, down at the Sun Study Center in Boulder, he detects this massive eruption, region 419. It just explodes.
And the radiation?
Travels at the speed of light. That's the terrifying part. By the time they knew about it on Earth, the moon was already being hit.
Oh my God.
Cottage is doing these panicked calculations. REMS, that's the unit for radiation dose effect. REMS, 5,000, maybe 6,000 total dose. Oh, Jesus, those poor men. The speed of light, usually this amazing constant, suddenly becomes this terrifying messenger of doom.
It's chilling, racing against physics itself. And yet they could still navigate, right, even across those huge distances.
Yeah, the inertial guidance system, described as a modern miracle. It allowed for incredibly precise navigation, a real marvel of engineering.
But space wasn't the only danger. Earthly tragedies hit the Solid Six, too.
Sadly, yes. Tim Bell died in a highway accident. Harry Jensen, similar fate. Even when they weren't flying, the risks were just everywhere.
A stark reminder. So back to the mission. Claggett and Pope's culminating flight. Claggett attempts a spacewalk.
Yeah, and it doesn't go well. He struggles out there for about 20 minutes, becomes dangerously debilitated. All he manages to say is, "I'm coming in." Just
exhausted. Or something more.
The physical toll. Space is just brutal on the body, even for these incredibly fit, highly trained individuals. It was a real warning sign.
And then the worst happens.
Yeah. The lunar module crashes on landing. Claggett and Lindley, they're killed instantly. On the moon.
Oh, no.
John Pope, he's orbiting above, safe in the command module. He can actually see the wreckage, see their ripped suits.
Horrifying.
He reflected later on the unique nature of their death. Immaculate, unburied, preserved in the vacuum of space. The initial reports back to Earth were garbled, too, because of the radiation effects from the solar flare.
What a lonely, haunting end for them. And Pope had to come back alone.
He did. A harrowing return, relying completely on that ablative heat shield. He described seeing great flames, incandescent material just roaring past the window, leaving this flaming trail maybe 500 miles long behind him.
Must have been terrifying, just trusting the engineering.
Absolutely. And then this amazing human detail emerges right after he lands safely. This ongoing argument they had.
The music.
Yeah. Claggett loved country music. Pope preferred back in Bartok. Claggett apparently called Pope's taste spaghetti music.
Spaghetti music.
That's the quote. This small, relatable disagreement, surfacing even after everything they'd been through, the triumph, the tragedy, it just highlights the incredibly personal, sometimes quirky human side of it all.
It really does. Speaking of quirky, let's circle back to Leopold Strabismus. You mentioned him earlier.
Strabismus, the harmless quack from Mount Vernon, New York.
He started this, research operation?
Yeah.
Selling secrets about little green men?
Pretty much. And later built the Temple of USA for his Universal Spiritual Association, tapping into that fringe element.
What was his appeal? Especially with all this incredible real science happening.
Well, he tapped into a different kind of curiosity, maybe, and fear. His, let's call them deceptive practices, they had a real impact on some people, like Eleanor Grant.
Right. The senator's wife.
She came to believe his warnings about visitors who infiltrated NASA and that some kind of takeover occurs during the first week of October.
Wow. That really shows the clash, doesn't it, between rigorous science and these other beliefs.
Absolutely. There was apparently a heated debate between Mott, the engineer, and Strabismus about the age of the universe, its origin. Polar opposites.
And Strabismus didn't stop there.
No, he later used radio to spread his splendid theory of salvation, even launched this bizarre campaign against homosexuality in a town called Skycrest, Colorado. It just shows how easily misinformation can grab hold and spread, even when science is making these giant leaps.
It's a timeless problem, I suppose. Which brings us to how NASA itself started to change. The mission evolved.
It did. The focus began to shift, less purely on manned missions, more towards ever more capable machines, bigger rockets.
Exploring the planet.
Yeah, Uranus, Neptune, Mars. Kolff's perspective was pretty blunt. We don't need astronauts to clutter up the hardware.
Ouch. So the golden age of human spaceflight, was it already seen as maybe fading a bit?
It was definitely a shift in philosophy, driven by practicality, what the machines could do, maybe costs too, but even focusing on machines brought huge challenges. Look at the space shuttle.
Ah, the tiles.
The infamous tiles. 31,689 different tiles, each one hand-manufactured and hand-applied.
Just mind-boggling complexity.
Mott himself apparently called that specific design aspect hubris within NASA. It reflects the immense costs, the constant budget reviews, the cuts. Progress, whether it's human crews or complex machines, always has a massive price tag and its own set of often unforeseen problems.
So through all this, the triumphs, the tragedies, the shifts in focus, what's the enduring takeaway? This quest for knowledge pushed us right up against infinity.
That's how Stanley Mott felt, yeah. Thinking about traveling to Mars, 75 million miles, Saturn nearly 1 billion miles away, he felt it was man knocking on the door of infinity.
It's a powerful image.
And that led him to thinking about the scale of it all. Billions of stars, billions of galaxies. His rough calculation, maybe about 2 million societies out there we could potentially interact with.
2 million. It's humbling.
And think about the personal transformations. John Pope starts as this straight arrow test pilot.
Right.
Ends up as a professor of applied astronomy at Fremont State, teaching students about constellations, the Eagle, Altair with its 2 bright guardians, explaining time zones on a globe.
So the journey changed him fundamentally.
Profoundly. It shows how going into space can completely shift your perspective back here on Earth. Transforms this hero of action into, well, maybe a sage of the cosmos.
It really speaks to that idea, doesn't it? That pursuing knowledge pushes back the frontiers of knowledge. In that quote you mentioned earlier.
An age is called dark, not because the light fails to shine, but because people refuse to see it.
What do you think that refusal to see really means in the context of this whole space saga, and maybe even for us today?
Well, I think it suggests that sometimes the biggest discoveries aren't about finding totally new things out there. Maybe it's more about really understanding what's already in front of us. It's about getting past our own biases, our fears, our limited viewpoints maybe, to really embrace the sheer vastness of possibility. Whether that's the universe or just understanding ourselves better, it's about not, closing our eyes to the light, even when it's difficult or challenges what we thought we knew.
So we've journeyed through decades here. Ambition, incredible innovation, profound personal struggle. We've seen how the dreams of just a few people became these marvels that captivated many.
Yeah. And it's clear space exploration isn't just about rockets and, the science part. It's so much about the human spirit, with all its flaws, all its brilliance, just pushing against the unknown.
It really is a testament to what we can do when we dare to look up, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So as you reflect on this whole journey we've taken today, think about what stands out most to you. Was it the sheer audacity of trying to reach the moon? Or maybe those surprising links between wartime tech and peaceful exploration.
Or perhaps the quiet courage of the astronauts themselves, the intense pressure on their families.
Or even just the complex dance between ambition and politics that drove it all. In this age where we're just flooded with information, maybe ask yourself, what invisible truths, what light are we perhaps refusing to see right now?
It's a great question to ponder. How does that same human curiosity, that resilience, continue to shape our world, both here on Earth and out there in the boundless heavens?